Hello everyone, it's Dr. Bird here with Real Talk with Dr. Bird, Holistic Health Edition, and today I wanted to go over muscle response testing. I feel that it's one of the basic tools that you can have in your toolkit, so when you're going to the store to buy any type of products or testing to what's going to be most aligned with your body, your consciousness, your path. It's helpful to have if you don't have that quite that intuitiveness and the gut instinct about what is best for you. Sometimes it can get a little blurry because people don't tend to listen to that, don't listen to their body and the signs and the symbols that give them clues on what is best for them at that time. So what is muscle response testing? Muscle response testing, or MRT, is a manual, non-invasive way to gather information about one's body. It works much in the same way as any type of reflex testing, and with any sort of reflex testing, it has nothing to do with the actual muscle strength. You're not testing how strong somebody is. You're waiting for that first reflex, and that gives you clues as to what's going on in the body and what's most aligned for you. And everything that you do with muscle response testing will be that automatic involuntary response to the actual stimuli that you are testing. In this manner, it is used as a primary feedback mechanism where we can evaluate many aspects of a person based upon the input or the stimuli that is being assessed. I use this with my clients in order to find out root causes as well as what best aligns with their body. So before you start the muscle response testing, you're going to want to make sure you do not have any electronics on your body. Sometimes it's best to take off jewelry, gemstones, especially watches, smartwatches. You want those off. Any cell phones on the body you want to take off as well, because that can cause polarity issues as well. There's multiple ways of muscle response testing. There's where you have two people, like a naturopathic doctor and the client. You can have them hold up their arm, and the doctor is going to make a statement or touch certain parts of the body to test the organs or different things that may be going on, systems. So they'll say just stomach, and then the naturopathic doctor will push the arm down, and the client is going to put the same amount of pressure and resist the arm being put down. It's not like a arm wrestling where you're trying not to put it down at all. It's just that same amount of pressure that's being applied by the naturopathic doctor. So there's that way that you can do it, but there's other ways that you can muscle response test yourself, and that is the O-ring method. So you take either the first pointer finger in your thumb or the middle finger in your thumb. That's what I'm used to doing when I muscle response test myself. I'm trying to get a good angle here, but so you're going to take one, and it's going to be the strong hold, and then one is going to be the loose, so that's going to be the testing finger. So you're first going to want to make a statement that you know is true. Usually I tell people use your name, so you can either say my name is, and insert your name, or I am in your name. So my name is Andrea, and I'm going to go ahead, and that should stay strong. The link shouldn't break. So that's how you know that your polarity is correct, and you're going to get the correct yes answers and the correct no answers, or the correct strong answers or the correct weak answers, depending on what you're testing for. There's that kind. There are other ones that people use, different flicking methods. Some people like to use the blinking method. I would recommend, though, if you're someplace where you don't feel comfortable using this, like in a store, some people think that's weird. So if you're not comfortable doing it that way, there's a method where you can stand straight up, legs shoulder width apart, make sure you feel well balanced. So you're going to do that statement again, your control statement. So my name is, or I am, insert your name, and that should bring you forward, because that should be a true answer. You're going towards what is true. If you're going to repel away from that statement, so go back, then that is a, if you're using the control statement at first, that's an indication that your polarity is backwards. And what you have to do when your polarity is switched around is you're going to rub right here underneath your collarbones. I would say anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute. And then you're going to do the same control statement to see if your polarity is switched. If it isn't switched and you're still repelling after you do this, then you're going to want to do some cross-body movements to help get that polarity back in balance. Some of you may be asking, so why might the polarity in my body be switched around? A lot of times this has to do with a recent emotional event, or you're going through some heavy emotions. Another thing may be you've had a recent injury, and it could be any type of stress, basically, can switch around the polarity. So cross-body movements, so you'll take your right arm and you'll touch your left knee. You can do this standing up or sitting down, whatever your preferred position is or whatever you're able to do. If you're able to stand up, I would recommend that way, because you're getting more of the cross-body movements. If you can't even sit up, you can lay down and do the cross-body movements that way. So right hand to left knee, left hand to left knee. So you're gonna you'll pick your leg up as you do this if you're standing up. If you're sitting down, you don't necessarily have to pick your leg up, but if you can, I would pick it up a little bit. It just gives you a little bit more input in the body to help that switch around. So after that, then test if you're still getting a negative repelling result, go ahead and keep continuing that for those cross-body movements for a little while longer. There's of course the self muscle response testing. That's what I'm teaching you to do. And this goes more into the naturopathic doctor, practitioner, natural health field, but sometimes you might want to do this on your children or your spouse or family member, whatever it may be. Sometimes you want to do this for your pets. So what you can do is remote muscle testing. Make sure that you have either permission directly before doing this or ask for permission in the muscle response testing. So you'll say, whoever the name is, I have permission to muscle response test for this person. And if you get a yes for that, go ahead and do it. If you get a no, don't do it at that time, because there could be various reasons why that could be that you're getting a no response. So that's the remote testing. You're going to test for somebody else using the O-ring method or whatever method is best for you to use. And then there's of course the muscle response testing, the actual person using the arm method like I described in the beginning. That may not work for younger children, so the other muscle response testing method that you could use if you're muscle response testing for a child or someone who is not able to withstand the arm testing, or doesn't want to do, or you don't want to do the remote testing. Then you can do something called the surrogate muscle response testing, and that's where that individual is holding either the pet, the child, or holding on to the adult that may not be either able to do it, or someone who's incapacitated possibly. So what I usually do is check the polarity first for that individual. And how you do this is you actually put your hand either on top of the head of the individual while you're muscle response testing them. So you'll put your hand on there, they'll have their arm out. The individual that's a surrogate will have their arm out, but you're putting your hand on the actual person that you are muscle response testing for. So you'll put your hand on their head or either right in front of their heart. Sometimes for shorter people, if they're standing, it's easier to do the heart. Sometimes if they're sitting, it's easier to do the head. So whatever you're most comfortable with. But you'll do that and then just say, go ahead and hold. So you'll test. And if that is strong when you're holding this way or this way, that is a correct polarity. If it is weak, and then you change your hand, so palm facing out, and that one is strong, then the polarity switch. So first you'll want to have them do this, or if they're incapacitated and cannot do that, go ahead and do this on them with permission if they give you it. If you go through the muscle response testing, the polarity again, and you're still getting a weakness when your hand's this way or this, then you'll want to go ahead and do the cross body movements again in order to get that polarity back to the way it's supposed to be, so you can get accurate answers. So we went over remote muscle testing, self muscle testing, more of the practitioner testing, and the surrogate testing. So for the surrogate testing, if you're doing a pet, you would do the same thing. Check the polarity before you start muscle testing whatever you want. So samples of this would be to test, okay, the heart, lungs, spleen, stomach, liver, gallbladder, large intestine, small intestine. So you can go through all those to see where in the system there may be a weakness. And you can do it for, if you are someone who wants to do supplements, you can do it for supplements. You can do it for just about anything you can think of. Sometimes in the store, you may muscle test to see if a certain food is good for you. You can muscle test to see if you need to go to a certain event, or just about anything that you can think of, you can muscle test for. And it's just a really nice tool that you can have in your toolkit, and it empowers people to make decisions on their own instead of second guessing themselves. A lot of times you'll get answers and you'll be like, yeah, I knew that. So you'll just want to make sure that you're having one of the O-rings in your hand as the one that is solid, held solid, and one that is loose if you're doing this testing method. So you're going to want to be able to kind of bring it through. So my name is Bob. It shouldn't, my name is Andrea, and it should go strong. My name is Bob, and it goes weak. So you can either, some people prefer to do it kind of fast. My name is Andrea, so it's going to be strong. My name is Bob, so it goes really weak, really fast. Another one that someone can do is holding like this and then putting your hand in there and seeing if you can push your hand apart like that. So my name's Andrea, that's strong. My name's Bob, and it's going to come apart. You can do that as well. There's so many different forms of muscle response testing. I'm trying to bring up a form here that we can look at. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Let's see if I have it saved somewhere maybe. There's another method that's not too well known that I've learned. Oh, I can't even remember the name of it now. There was a specific modality that I learned, a different technique on how to muscle test, and that's basically where you're taking your hands and you're just throwing them, and if your thumbs come in alignment, then that is a strong or yes answer, and if they're not in alignment, they come off, and that's a negative or a no answer depending on what you're looking at. That is, and you just want your arms to sway. You're not trying to make them come into alignment, you're just swaying them and seeing what comes up. So as I just did that, they were off a little bit. So so just swing, come up, and see what the answer is for that. Yeah, there's so much regarding this topic. I could probably go on and on, but I believe that covers a lot of it. I wish I could pull up that chart. A lot of them are pretty obvious on where you're going to push for certain things, but some of them you have to know, like traditional Chinese acupoints and different things to know where to press. But you don't have to necessarily press on the body to find out if that organ or system is working. You can actually just put the verbal stimulus into the body to ask and see, okay, stomach, all right, hold, or stomach, so that's strong, liver, strong, kidneys, strong, bladder, strong, lungs, strong, heart, strong. So I'm trying to think of anything that might be weak on me. Large intestine, that's still strong. Small intestine, gallbladder, lymphatics. No, mine are all pretty strong right now. And sometimes if someone is in freeze, shutdown, burnout type mode, they're more likely to need a little bit of assistance with the polarity stuff, and possibly some even further assistance than that, kind of getting the body regulated first before muscle testing. And you can do somatic exercises, different exercises, if you put your legs up on the wall while laying on your bed and like gently rock. That could get you back into balance again. And rocking, shaking, moving the hips, getting that stress out of the body in order to regulate the nervous system a little bit better before you muscle test can be helpful as well. And if someone else, you're muscle testing for a surrogate, or if you're actually muscle testing for a different person, where you have two people, you and another person, and your muscles testing a certain product, you can have that person hold the product with one hand towards their heart, chest area, and then you go ahead and have them put their arm out and muscle test to see if that specific product is in highest alignment for them. I don't recommend necessarily muscle response testing for specific dosages, just because if you're muscle testing for higher dosages than what is recommended on the product, then you are going to be held liable if something happens negatively to that individual. So it's best to just follow the dosages on the product. Most of the time you're going to want to start slower and gradually work up to that dosage anyway. So I would steer clear of that just for liability reasons. Let me see if there's anything else that I need to discuss. And our body has all of the answers that we need to. So that's what we're tapping into, is the answers that our body already knows what it needs to do. And sometimes what it's already doing, and it might just need a little bit more support from you. Sometimes people refer to this as nutrition response testing. I'm not actually sure when that came to be. That might be when they're just looking at the nutrients for the body, supplements and that sort of thing. But this can also be referred to as applied kinesiology, using the body and its movements, reflexes, in order to find what's best for it, or what's in most alignment, or to get any type of answers that one is looking to get. And it can get into deeper work for a kinesiologist as well, when they're working with the neurolymphatic points and the vascular points, and but I won't get into that here. That's more in a practitioner training course. You don't want to muscle response test if you have an injury in the area, the type that you're muscle response testing. So if you've broken your fingers, you might not want to use this one. You might want to use the sway muscle testing. If you're testing somebody else and they've broken their shoulder, elbow, or wrist at one point, or if that side is weaker than the other, they've had a stroke and that arm is affected, you want to take everything into account. If somebody cannot use the upper limbs, you can have them sit down and of course their legs in a 90-degree angle, and have them, you're going to put your hand on their shin on the lowest portion of it, and have them, so you do the control, of course. You hold your hand in front of their heart or their top of their head, palm face down or facing the heart, and have them push their leg out at the same time you push it in. If you can push it in, then that's a weakness where it should be strong. So the polarity switch. So go ahead and go through the points right here, stimulating those. And then if you don't get a strong positive answer when you use that control or the polarity check, then you'll want to do the cross body movements again. So there's ways around that you can do this. Sometimes people might need to lay flat on their back, and you can raise the leg and use the leg. Do what works best for the individual circumstance. So some people say, okay, how are you testing the polarity? What is that? How do you what does this mean and why would that be strong? And then switching with the palm facing out, why would that make it weak? So the polarity of your palm, or the electromagnetic field that it's giving off, is the oppositely charged polarity of your heart. So what that does is it creates, and just like with magnets, it's going to create a attraction between the two, and when they attract, it closes the circuit, so it creates a closed circuit and the muscle is able to stay strong. It doesn't disrupt the electromagnetic field. On the opposite, so palm facing out, the back of the hand is the same polarity as the heart. So it naturally, when magnetics have the same polarity, they repel each other. So that breaks that circuit. So then the reflex is going to be weak. The muscle is going to be weak. So it goes weak, it breaks the circuit. Okay, so polarity reversals can also be caused by electromagnetic frequencies. So these are the man-made frequencies. So often excessive use of cell phones, Wi-Fi, and other electronics. And dehydration can also affect the results of muscle testing, as when you're dehydrated, it decreases the electrical conductivity in the body, so it can lead to these polarity reversals as well. So there's other ways, like I kind of hinted to reverse a polarity that has been switched. And you can place one hand on your belly button and then use the other hand to gently tap on the top of your head for 10 seconds. So you can do that. While keeping your hand on your belly button, place your other hand over your face with one finger above the lips and one finger below. So I'm going to switch because I'm right-handed, so it's a little bit easier for me this way. And then you gently rub above and below the lips at the same time. So you're going to go like this. This can be done in 2 steps as well, where you rub below the nose and then rub below the lips. And you can do for 10 seconds. Okay. Still with your hand on your belly button, rub both collarbone points located near the midline of the body. So just like I said before, let's see, which way do I want to go with this? So here for 10 seconds, and you can use your thumb and your index finger. With hands still on your belly button, you can rub your tailbone for 10 seconds and switch sides and repeat as well. And then if that still isn't having a positive effect to switch your polarity, you can sit in a chair and place your left ankle over your right ankle and extend your arms out in front of you with the backs of your hands facing each other. So like that, with the backs of your hands facing each other. So like this. Clasp the hands with the right hand over the left and bring the hands back towards you and rest them on the chest. Bending the elbows, hold for a few minutes. So you can do that as well. Sorry, I'm looking at all these notes that I have here. So If you feel out of sorts or chronically fatigued, have brain fog or migraines, are stressed out, or are finding that it may take you longer than usual to recover, your polarity may be reversed. When this happens, the electrical conduction is altered in the body, and it affects how the body functions on a fundamental level, which compromises how the body is able to heal itself and function. And let me see. So polarity reversal can also mean then the resistance to healing. And subconscious negative thoughts and negative thoughts about ourselves can cause and perpetuate these polarity reversals. Like I said before, big emotional traumas or triggering events often create this polarity reversal. And you can also do the thymus thump. The thymus gland is right here in your chest. It helps to energize the thymus gland located at the top of the breastbone. So you used a closed hand and thump this area while saying ha ha ha. So ha ha ha, like that. And like I stated before, when you do muscle response testing on someone, you want to remove anything that may create interference in the electrical conductivity of the body in the whole energetic field. So even sometimes eyeglasses may need to be removed, especially if they have the metal frames. Hats, jewelry from the testing arm, I would almost say all jewelry, because it's going to affect the body, and other possible substances that can elicit an adverse reaction on their own, like sometimes even perfumes or toxins on the body can create interference in the electrical field, and thus the ability to get accurate answers from a muscle response test. And the questions or the statements during muscle testing should be framed in a way to not cause confusion. So a lot of times you want it very simple and straight to the point, not multiple things within one statement or question. And sometimes people may just be in a state physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, that muscle response testing may not be possible for them at that time until some stuff gets worked through themselves. One thing, if you are testing with two individuals, a practitioner or muscle response facilitator, and then a client or another person, the one you're doing the muscle response testing on, the facilitator should never look straight on into the eyes of the person that's being tested, because your energy will influence their energetic field. So what you'll want to do is, what I find myself doing is the client is facing towards me, and I'll stand actually so my body is facing more away from them. And then while I'm asking, I'm looking off into the distance, into the space, and they can look over my shoulder or whatever's most comfortable to them, but I never look them directly in the eye because it can influence the results. Yeah, with muscle response testing, you kind of have to be flexible and work with the individual because it's very individualized. And there are ways, like with certain, especially with men who want to appear tough, like, oh, you can never push my arm down. There are certain things that you can do to kind of turn off that tough response as well, whether that be kind of a tap on the shoulder, tap real quick, and then muscle test. And there's other ways, if you get more into the applied kinesiology of this, there's other ways that you can shut off that response as well. But I believe that's all that I want to go over for muscle response testing today. If you have any questions or would like more assistance or something explained a little bit further, then please feel free to reach out in the comments and practice this until you feel comfortable doing it on someone else, and keep practicing with yourself. And there comes a point when you don't necessarily have to rely on the constant muscle testing. You kind of get that intuitive hit and knowing even before you muscle test. But sometimes when you're in the midst of certain things and you're not feeling well, or you're confused about a certain situation, definitely you can use muscle testing. So have fun with it. If you have any questions or would like clarification, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll make another video if I do get questions. I believe that is it for today. I hope you all have a nice day and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks. Bye.